In today's video, we're going to learn how we can start leveraging Stripe to start processing payments for application. Welcome back, y'all. Today's video, we're going to be using Stripe to set up some payments for application so we can actually make some money. For now, though, from the previous tutorial that you already saw, we are done with analytics. We successfully connected GA4 to our application. So bye-bye analytics. We're going to use this and the ability for key events for conversion code later on. Let's jump over to payment and getting paid. First things first, go ahead and create a Stripe account. Completely free. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up everything and connect everything in the test environment. The test environment and the real environment, where someone can put a real credit card in and actually get charged money, are basically the same thing. So the steps and processes you're about to see, you're going to be able to apply that to the real life situation. Regardless, though, the test environment is valuable as you're going to use it anyways when you're developing and creating your application. To get started here, I'm going to create a new branch completely dedicated to purchasing. Get checkout, -b, purchase, time. Enter. Here we go. As you know, when you do major deployments or major features to your app, you want to do a separate branch, and then we'll merge it to main once it all looks good. This is so that if you really mess up, you can always revert to the main branch and the code that works perfectly. For now, though, we are good to go. We're in the purchase time. Let's proceed. I'm going to go and log in here, sign up with Google, and we currently have our nice little profile from the previous tutorials here. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to add another UI element here that's going to allow the user to simply purchase a package. Obviously, when it comes to this tutorial and this entire series, you probably already know this up to this point, but I'm not leaning into design. I'm not trying to make this look pretty. I have a whole separate front-end playlist for that. And since you're in my school community, you can check it out. It's building out a web app. My purpose here is to purely show you how to connect the dots in the back end when it comes to conversion for money. So let's do that. I'll be right back. You already know the vibes. Swedish House Mafia, coffee. Let me get this UI element done, as the point of this series is backend. So we're back, and before I show you this new UI element, you are most likely going to get prompted with this error later in the tutorial. So let's solve that now. Basically, we need to install the dependency of Stripe, which allows us to access this external API. To do so is very simple, and I wanted to show you this because if you ever run into errors with other types of dependencies, it's typically npm install and then whatever it's called. So for us, npm install Stripe, stripe.js. Enter. Obviously, make sure you're in the correct directory. For me, it's actual backend app. That all looks good. And I want to point out one other thing here, as I've seen this in my comments. When you see stuff like 16 vulnerabilities, moderate, high, don't worry about that. Your application is not broken. This is standard software development practices. So with that done, I went ahead and created my nice little UI element here. This obviously isn't amazing, but I will say this is better than some sites I've seen in the past as of recently. Here we go, though. We have the first stage done here in the sense that there's a UI element here that we can click a button. And for this context, we're creating some type of conversion here where you pay $5, you get more abilities to prompt here or ask more questions. We're calling them messagely credits. Obviously, you'll know your naming, your reasons, or how you're going to monetize your platform. For now, though, we got our UI element, which does nothing as of now. So before I jump into the code over here and explain everything, let me show you the exact prompt you should use within Cursor AI, Windsurf, or whatever editor you're using currently. Or maybe you're just a classic VS Code, ChatGPT. Go ahead and go into the relevant file where you want this conversion event to happen. So for example, what we have is this little box right here. In theory, this could be a whole separate file. Maybe it's a pop-up, whatever it may be. Go there, select all of the code here, and then put this. We're going to go in and say this. I need help integrating Stripe into my React dashboard.js component. Please add a simple purchase button for a fixed $5 message lead plan using Stripe's load Stripe and Firebase Cloud functions. Ensure all variables and function names are unique. Keep the implementation straightforward and include basic error handling. Here's the situation, especially if you're new. Go as simple as possible for your first time doing this. Don't jump into the deep water, make 5 subscription plans with 20 different prices. No. Start simple, one purchase, one time, get it working. Once you build out the code in this context, expanding past that becomes a lot easier. I would hit enter here and proceed. Once you do that, your code should look very similar to this. If it doesn't, Cursor AI messed up. Help Cursor AI out and simply put in very similar terminology of what I'm about to say right now. First off, we need to import Stripe. And the way we import Stripe in the context of a dependency within this file is going to be import load Stripe and then the dependency we downloaded together or installed. Next is going to be your Stripe promise, which will be found in your Stripe dashboard, which I'll show you here pretty soon. And we're going to load this as an env variable, as this is a high-risk variable. We don't want to be public-facing. In theory, your promise can be public-facing, but just go with good practices here. Put it in your env. So scrolling all the way down to the front-end little UI component we saw, which is that little box, you'll notice is that it's just simply within this little purchase section here, and then it does the event, or it does the function on click of handle purchase click. Anytime you want to see what that means or what it does when I click the button, simply do this, Command F, Control F, find it within your file, and you'll see that there is 2 different references to it. Right here for handle purchase click, which all it's doing is just running initial purchase. And initial purchase is right here. To make our code secure and scalable, we'll obviously do the actual Stripe logic within the back end of our app here. But within the front end, all we need to do is do an HTTP callable, and we're going to send a payload. So right off the bat, we'll go ahead and call our Python function here that's going to handle the purchase logic, start payment session, which kind of makes sense. Next, you'll notice a reference to GCLID here. Put that in. This is going to be referenced in the next tutorial here, which shows you how to do conversion code. For the payload here, it's not too important for this tutorial, as I'm just showing you how to do a one-time with a very specific purchase ID, which will make more sense here. But the idea is basically assuming that maybe you have a little bit more variables involved with your Stripe logic here. For example, maybe there's a one-time and a subscription. If that's true, then in our payload, we would make that clear. One time or subscription, and then when we send that to our backend, it'll be able to differentiate how to handle that logic depending on how it comes in. That's why we like HTTP callables, because just think of it like, hey, you ever see Blue's Clues? You know, it's like, hey, we got mail. Like, that mail is the HTTP callable receiving the data from the front end. So this is Blue's Clues, and you got mail. Sometimes my brain wanders. From here, though, we're going to use very specific dictation found within Stripe, which is going to be the idea of creating a session from that payload. Then we're going to have very standard stuff like creating the session ID, the Stripe promise here. Don't worry, we're talking to AI. It should know to add this. If it doesn't, then add it. With all that added, let's go ahead and add to our env file this public key. It goes without saying that your test environment and your live environment when it comes to Stripe are going to have 2 entirely different publish keys and secret keys. So the keys you see over here are completely for test mode. How do you know if you're in test mode? First off, you see that up there. You see a little orange bar. In order to get out of test mode, you're just going to have to basically complete the profile as shown here. That's standard stuff. Anyone can do that. So once we're at our dashboard, though, we got to get our publish key and our secret key. Now, it's found right here, but let me get a better UI. I'm going to go to Developers API Keys. Now, here we're going to find 2 major things. We're going to find our publish key, which we're going to use in the front end, and then we're going to find our secret key, which we'll use in the back end. For obvious reasons, never share these. And if you're like, oh, shoot, I got Corbin's little publish key. No, I'm deleting this account. Okay, so that doesn't exist anymore. For now, though, you'll notice that in a test environment, you're going to see test here. In a real environment, test won't be there. So coming back over here and then going to our env, which is found right up here. I'm obviously going to black this all out right there, but we're going to go ahead and add this. And then we're going to hit equal, and then let's add it. If I get to copy it, paste it. So there you go. Once we add it here, we should be good to go within our dashboard.js, as it's going to reference this when loading this code. Although right now, the code is still not going to work. Why the code is not going to work still is because we need to create our backend. So now that we have our front end working with all the relevant variables we need to do a Stripe, we're going to come here to Python functions. We're going to create a new file called purchase. New file.py. Obviously, in purchase.py is where we're going to do all our purchase code. Before we do that, though, let's create a test product here. Coming over to our Stripe account here. If we come over to product catalog, you'll notice that we have no products. Let's create a product. How you structure this is completely dependent on the business you're running, right? So are you a subscription-based business? Are you going to be a one-time purchase? However it may be, let's try it. So we're going to do message lead credits here, find more prompts. We can upload an image. We'll upload this image of a dog. We can do recurring or one-off. Today's video is going to be one-off. We're going to set a fixed price of $5, and then we can add this product. With this product added, you'll see it up here. And the reason we need to do that is we're going to reference this in our code, specifically the product ID. I'm back. Even though it's a couple seconds for you, it's a whole new day for me. When duty calls, duty calls. Let's finish this tutorial. One clarification real quick is that we do reference the product ID in other contexts when it comes to Stripe API. For what we're doing today, since we're only referencing the specific price ID of $5, all we need to do is simply come down here, hit these 3 ellipses, and then hit copy price ID, which is a little cut off right now. It should start with price underscore and then the ID. So going back over to our front end here, obviously we know we're sending the planned message lead, the GCL ID when we do that in the next tutorial here, and then we are referencing start payment session. Let's jump over to main.py. So the situation is this. Since I'm already planning on creating an entire playlist dedicated towards creating a software applications front end, back end, and then actually advertising it and getting consumers off of it, I plan on structuring the back end more effectively in those tutorials. As the whole purpose of this playlist that you're currently watching is more of just allowing you to connect the dots. Because once the dots are connected, this opens the door for you to do everything else when it comes to coding and learning. So then what I'm going to do in this series to make it simple on your end is I'm going to combine all the relevant functions and put them in our main.py. Therefore, you can kind of come to your main.py, you don't get too confused with too many files, and just go to the relevant function that you care about. So since we are now dealing with Stripe, we need to install this as a dependency. To do this, we need to install this specifically within our Python functions folder. So let me show you with a fresh terminal window, and then honestly, go ahead and put this in your cheat sheet so you don't have to deal with this again. In our cheat sheet, we're going to do cd to our actual backend app. That's going to be the relevant folder we're in. That's our directory. That's typically what we go to for all of our commands. But then we're going to do one further, which is going to be Python functions. This is going to be our Python folder. Hit enter. Once we are here, we have to do one more line before we install Stripe. And that's going to be within this folder, we need to activate our venv. And to do so, do this line, source venv bin activate. Once you do that, you should see venv over there. Once you're here and you specifically see venv, that's when we're going to do the Stripe install command, which will be pip install Stripe. Hit enter. There we go. Once it's installed, this is going to circumnavigate a ton of errors that you may see in your emulator. So step one's down. This basically gives us the ability to access a third party like Stripe in our code in main.py. So once we have that done, we need two major variables in our env. Obviously, our Stripe secret key, which, as we saw earlier, if I go to API here, developer API keys, it is found right here. So simply hit reveal test key, copy, paste into your env, naming it Stripe secret key equal. Make sure when importing this and handling this, though, it is after the load.env, and it is found right here, right before the OpenAI API key. So knowing all this, let's go over the two major functions that are going to be encompassed in any type of Stripe checkout, specifically when dealing with software development. So the first is going to be start payment session. This is what we're referencing in our front end here with start payment session. And as the name suggests, basically this is going to open up the checkout so we can start checking out our specific product. And all we're passing through the front end is simply the payload. We're creating a Stripe session with the specific price ID put here. That's what I referenced earlier when I said to copy that. Price underscore ID. And then the quantity amount. So for us, we're going to do 1. And then finally, where it should redirect. So we'll do localhost 3000/dashboard. For a real application, you would put apples.com/dashboard, etc. Or you would set up some additional logic here where it would be able to understand whether it was in QA, local, or prod, and then switch the URLs depending on that. Once that's done, that's done. So that's the situation with the first function. We're just creating the checkout. When the user converts, they convert. But nothing happens past that. Therefore, we need the second function. The second function is what's going to actually handle the data that we receive from Stripe. So I went ahead and just named it handle Stripe webhook. We'll need a variable that I'm going to show you how to get pretty soon here called Stripe webhook secret. This is going to allow the software to identify that, hey, it's okay for us to receive this data and let Stripe know that. Scrolling all the way down here, we're going to go ahead and have the end goal of basically once a successful conversion occurs, e.g. the user completes a checkout, we're going to store 100 credits in their Firestore database. This right here is unique. So the idea here is that when we receive checkout session complete from Stripe, this will all make sense when you see it in play, we can do whatever we want. I mean, in theory, we could change the user's UI if we wanted to do that. Or we change a variable that already exists in the Firestore. This is all unique. This is all custom. Therefore, our version of like, hey, the user pays $5, what do we do in our app is give them 100 credits in their Firestore, which then we could reference throughout the application. So let's go ahead and get this all up and running. And as I've encouraged before, when speaking of Cursor AI or handling this kind of information, use the same terminology I'm currently speaking in. Also check out the Git in the description when it's available. You can simply copy all of this code, load it into a Cursor AI chat, and then be like, hey, this is good Stripe code. Help me out. Once we have the Firebase emulator running, you'll notice our functions right there: generate completion, handle Stripe webhook, start payment session. With that running here, let's get started. Sign in with Google. We're logged into our account here. And obviously, if we go to our local host, reload this, there we go. So far, so good. Now, with the connection from the front and the connection in the back, before we are going to test this fully, we need to launch in our Stripe a local webhook. So in theory, when we're actually running this, we're going to create an actual endpoint here, but the logic's the same in the sense of how we call upon this underlying webhook. So to test to make sure all this is working, we say add local listener. We need to do two major steps here. The first one is just Stripe login. So copy that, open up another terminal, simply paste that in, go through authentication, enter. Hit enter again. You should see this message. That means we currently allow access. You will then see completed. Once that is done, the next line we're going to do is Stripe listen forward to, and then a local host URL due to the fact that we are currently developing in localhost. local environment. So we'll go ahead and use that same exact command, but then we're going to provide the underlying URL. Stripe listen forward to localhost 5001, then your app name. So for mine, it's actual backend app. The way you find your app name is going to either be in your Firebase, or if you simply just come down to your Firebase.js, the project ID that's right there, check it out in your env. It's going to be the same one. Then we are doing Essential 1. This is the server we're on. So I'm assuming you have the same one. You may not. So make sure to check that in your Firebase. And then finally, handle Stripe webhook. And that is the way we named it here. Handle Stripe webhook. Hit enter. With this done, it's going to provide our webhook secret, which is right here. So make sure to copy that. That's probably going to be blurred out a little bit, but just copy it. It starts with WHSEC underscore huge string. Go ahead and name it Stripe webhook secret. Put that in our env here, and then just equals. So as you can see here, with it all blurred out, it's Stripe webhook secret, WHSEC string. Paste it. Okay, it's all looking good. We got completed. Let's try it. So what we're looking for here basically is for us to load in the specific product, complete a purchase, and see 100 credits identified within our Firestore. Purchase. We are processing. Stage 1 is done. We are in our nice little environment here. We zoom in. This is all fake, as you can see with test mode up there. And then we need to provide test card numbers. To find that, just simply type in Stripe test cards. You're going to see something like this. Scroll down and then just choose any of these. I just choose the top one, 4242. Email can be anything, so we'll just put in that. The card information, 4242. Put in random numbers here. I mean, we're talking anything, y'all. Name, random numbers, zip code, random numbers. We're just trying to test the feature, right? Hit pay. So this should redirect us to our dashboard. And then on top of that, let's check our Firestore. So the first part's good, and the second part's good as well. User, UID, they get those 100 credits. On top of that, if you come back to Stripe, you can see received events occurs here. These are the events and how the payload messaging looks like when Stripe receives it. This is how they send the data to us and for us to identify. Alternative way of seeing this is going to be in that terminal that we set up earlier. If you see a bunch of 200s, that's really good. That means it went through perfectly. If you see any other error code like 500, obviously look it up. Check out Stripe's documentation, but everything should be good up to this point. Therefore, we have successfully correlated a specific user and their specific purchase to their Firestore data. Therefore, from here, we can reference that data point and use it how we will throughout application. Now, when structuring your database in this context of purchasing and Stripe, I encourage you to do two major things. First thing, have it so there's an entire collection dedicated towards this entire conversion event, right? We're gonna do like user plan. Within user plan, we should set up like relevant Stripe variables that we care about. But furthermore, just stuff that is relevant to your platform. So is your platform not necessarily a use per basis, but rather a flat fee like ChatGPT where it's 20 USD a month? If so, the logic here becomes very simple. The user pays 20 bucks, you switch a boolean that says, hey, they're on Pro plan, and then in your entire front-end UI, you can simply have it so that when user, UID, has Pro plan for plan type and their boolean is true, then proceed with changing the user interface to only give the pro features, and that becomes available that way. Where if the free plan user comes in there and we do that same type of logic flow and it recognizes that it is not on the pro plan, they won't be given the same additional features. I'm gonna dive deeper into this topic and really good structuring in this topic when I create that mega playlist where I really go from ground zero to ground dot in creating a full-blown application, everything above board in that manner. For now though, we have successfully set up Stripe API within our web application to start getting paid. Let's go and check out the next video here, which shows you how to take Google Analytics, pair that with a web application and Google Ads, and see how we connect all three to start tracking conversions within our software. Sound good? I'll see you in the next video.